Hi everyone. I'm having a feeling of thoughts tonight, and I thought it was a good time to talk. So here's Caddie with a good thoughts video for you tonight. Now, some of this does come down to something that is directly behind me on the lower shelves, and they're not so forward. Video games, specifically older video games. Nothing down there is of the new sort. That is all older. PS2, N64, Genesis, Super Nintendo, PS1. Yeah, that's all actually down there. Pretty sure that's all on those particular shelves. But that's not all what I would want to talk about. I'll include in the Wii, the Nintendo, the NES, the Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Original, whatever, and to some extent even the Atari. I'll pull into that. What I'm mentioning is taking time to play some of my older stuff. Now, a lot of it is harder to go back to. I'll admit this. Especially a certain era, right around the N64 and the PS1. The reason being, that was early Polygon days, and things looked so blocky. Like, just going back even further, but I have such a hard time playing the original Star Fox, because it was going back to an old control scheme with a kind of breakthrough technology, which was at its time amazing. But I have Star Fox 64 on multiple platforms at this point, because they kind of remake the same story over and over again. Spoilers. Um, but a lot of the early polygony type games like that were hard to go back to. Even compared to anything that's just off the next edge, like late PS1 into early PS2, you've already had a major cleanup. Things are a lot more tolerable. GoldenEye was a fun game when it came out. That was a long time ago. Caddie's head slowly sneaks up, so it's harder to see out of and looking forward. But there are plenty of games that are not the polygon-based games, even on those systems. So I have a lot that I want to go back and spend some time playing. Lots of good RPGs throughout all those eras. A lot of good action games that were actually ones that I found fun. Either side-scrollers or first-person experiences or third-person experiences. And I really want to take some time to enjoy some of these games that either I didn't take enough time when they were new, or new to me anyway, or I just feel like I liked to get some more time in them. PS2 was a very unique era for me, and effectively PS1 as well, because of, well, it was my first PlayStation system, so anything I bought, PS1 was in that same strain for me. I had been on my first real job after college, so I had all of a sudden got money, because I was living in a really cheap apartment, a rented portion of a house. I had a lot of extra hours and shift differential at my job, and though looking back, I was making very poor money, but I was making way more money than I did when I was at like a part-time job in college. So I bought games because I wanted to buy games all these years and I couldn't. And I bought a lot of them. Lo and behold, just because you have the time and money to go to the game store on every other Saturday and buy a stack of games does not mean you have the time or the energy to play even game one out of that stack. There are actually games on the PS2 shelf that, and PS1, I purchased that have never been in the systems. Oddly enough, same with the PS3, but most games for the PS3 we actually played at least a little bit. Because at that point, yeah, at the beginning when you buy a system, sometimes you'll buy a few extra games just so you have something to play in it because you don't know how you're going to feel about it. That one we specifically got on a Black Friday sale, so we also, over there, picked up a few games off the cheap rack because they were like a couple bucks. So I don't feel like a major loss that, oh great, I have a Call of Duty game that I picked up right then that I maybe played once, if that. Uh, it's not a big deal because it was only a couple dollars. I'm not going to sell it because it's worth nothing. So I just happen to keep it. It's on my shelf forever. Uh, that's the thing. Uh, but there's so many games out of that era that were really good. Any of those eras. I mean, anything old at this point that I have and maybe haven't given enough thought to or even time to. Um, so that's a thought. Busting through those shelves, finding stuff that hadn't actually been put in the system, and put it in. Give it a whirl. See if it was actually worth the whatever it is I spent on it at the time I bought it. Uh, none of it's worth much at this point, so if I'm going to sell them, I'll hold on to them and enjoy them. They're just a collection of things. And they're decorative. They look nice behind my chair. Um, so yeah, old games. Um, well, I hate to ask this in the comments and let anybody call themselves out, but do you have any games that you know you purchased, or any systems you know you purchased a bunch of games for the when it was the thing system? You never even took the time for, never took them out of their box because you bought a bunch of used stuff because it was there and it was cheap, and you had money in your pocket, burn hole. Do you have any games or game systems you want to mention? I'd be happy to hear what kind of stuff you have on your shelf too that you didn't actually touch. PS2 is definitely my biggest era for that. Pretty sure I played all or almost all of my N64 games. Most of the PlayStation 1 games, actually. Except some of the Final Fantasies. I never even put most of them in because I never had the time. It's a problem when you have a job and you go and look at it like, oh, it's Final Fantasy. Well, that'll take me 3 months of all my gaming time to get through. We'll play that later. Um, but there's plenty of adventure games that I just left on the shelf because I didn't have time to get started in them. um, uh, Even the unwrapped, the games that are in Genesis that are wrapped up, I know I've played before. I just haven't purchased copies later in life. I'd only rented them before. Super Nintendo, most of those games are reacquired or got from some other source, got from people throwing them away or whatever. So I can't say I've played all those. Pretty much every one of my Nintendo games is either purchased on purpose because I had it as a kid, or wanted it as a kid and I rented or borrowed it. So nearly everything on that shelf I actually played, um, with a few exceptions because a couple times when I bought stuff online, like on eBay, I'd get a lot of 6 games or something. So I would have something I might not care about, like I have WWF wrestling or something there that I've never played, but I own it. Um, yeah, go figure. Um, but yeah, there's some thoughts. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your never played stories, and we'll share and commiserate the money we've spent into these systems that sits on our shelves. But for now, definitely want to thank you for spending some time talking about games with this little line today. Hope you're having a entertaining evening yourselves, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the little dingly bell for the little dingly bell. Let you know when I post new videos. Who knows, might be another Caddie video. I'm in the mood for him the last day or so, and I think I might wear him again this week and do more videos. For now, this little line says, thank you for spending time with us. He really appreciates you. Patreon link is in the description box below if you're so inclined. Not required, but it does help the channel, and I appreciate every penny. Your viewership, though, is way more important than any money you put into the Patreon. So please watch the videos. Please share with your friends. And spread the love. Because, well, happiness is the important part of this. And hope you have a good evening. Stay pretty. Stay floofy. And stay pink for me. And be good Cubs. I'll see you next time.